Hello, it's Jennifer Joy, Creativity and Life Purpose Specialist, realizing that I've got quite an echo going on in here. Woo, that's going to be interesting. I'm actually outside today. Today we are on day 24 of Change Your Life in 30 Days by RHONDA BRITTEN. We've taken the month of April to go through all 30 days of Change Your Life in 30 Days. So we're on day 24 today. No worries if you're just jumping into the group. You can climb on board at any time and always use the search in group to look for CYL or Change Your Life. And that will bring up all the past videos. But like I said, where you are is okay. Where you are, where you're coming in today is perfect. And that really is sort of the topic of today. Today is called, the chapter is called, What's Love Got to Do with It? What's love got to do with it? And basically, I will start with reading an excerpt from Rhonda's book. Rhonda is the founder of the Fearless Living Institute and pioneering life coach who really got the industry started and was the first life coach on TV. She started on a show in the UK and then ended up here in the United States on the show, it says right here, Starting Over, which was one of the first reality shows on the air. And it's how I found RHONDA BRITTEN and found out about life coaching because I'd not heard of it until then, and that was in 2004. So let me start with an excerpt from Rhonda's book. She says, joy is a muscle that is not contingent on whether you get your raise or feel understood. It is cultivated when we no longer look outside ourselves for approval, but instead seek our own personal approval above all others. It occurs when we learn to love ourselves and stays when we learn to be true to ourselves. So joy comes when we learn to love ourselves, and joy stays when we learn to be true to ourselves. And I think this brings up a really interesting point. This sort of goes along with, just looking at this crazy curl, sort of goes along with where I'm at today. Yesterday's video, I thought it was a good video. I was in it. And then shortly after I got done recording yesterday's video, I feel like I crashed and just got really tired, extremely tired. Mood's a little off. Even wondering if maybe I got exposed to gluten. I don't know. But I've done my normal release techniques, my clearing techniques, my normal stuff to sort of just, that usually brings me up a little bit or a lot. And this is just sort of sticking with me. Here I am, day 2, and it's sort of sticking with me. So Rhonda's really, when she's talking about being true to you, and that's where joy comes in. I wanted to talk a little bit about, it's easy sometimes to like yourself or love yourself when you're being a high performer, when you're checking things off your list. But what happens when being true to you means being less than you want to be, less than you desire to be? Can you still love yourself? Can you still like yourself? Can you be true to you? Can you surrender to it almost? It's a fine point, surrendering, because, I'm going to talk about it a little bit the way Abraham Hicks talks about it. It is an acceptance of where you are, yet it's not dwelling on where you are. So it's an acceptance that, I'm not at my best today. And yet it's not dwelling in, it's not staying in that struggle that I've talked about in the past. It's not staying in, I'm so tired. My brain's not, right? You're not doing you're not adding to the drama of it. It's just a point of, here's where I am. It's a point of contrast. It's not where I want to be for the rest of my life, right? It's not where I'd like to be for the rest of my life. And it's okay. And I love when Abraham talks about taking a trip specifically. And I believe they use the Oh, I don't know, they're in New Mexico and they want to go to California. They don't curse because they're starting in New Mexico. Darn it, I'm not in California yet. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how bad it is to be here in New Mexico. This is the worst thing ever, right? It's not adding to drama and struggle of being where they're at in New Mexico, but it's knowing that they're on their way to California. So can you love yourself when you're in New Mexico? Can you love yourself when you're in New Mexico? And one of the things I also wanted to talk about with loving myself and loving yourself, and really, like attracts like. I've spoken of that before. That's a big principle in law of attraction and abundance. Yet it isn't about ignoring where you're at. It's not about me saying, I'm a little low energy today, so I've got to quick shove myself into higher energy. That just creates more struggle. Right? I'm going to pull out my diagram, my favorite diagram, the stretch risk diagram. If I'm here today in my comfort zone, this is my point of attraction, which is, I'm going to say on a scale of 1 to 10 energy, I'm at about a 4 today. About a 4. And so if I'm at a 4, that's my status quo, my comfort zone, my current point of attraction. I don't need to go way outside into this die zone, right? I don't need to go way outside to the die zone to try to force myself to raise my vibration. What I can do is look right outside at something that's, the die zone brings up, if you want to refer to this, go back to day 6 when we talk more about this, but for today's purposes, the die zone seems so far out of reach. And it almost feels, when we're taking a risk moving out of our comfort zone, it can almost feel like you're going to die. And honestly, die is a little dramatic for me today, but, it feels way, way out of there to be at a 10 right now. It feels way. So what happens is your body, your physiology, your brain actually responds to that gap. And it goes, holy crap, holy cow. That's a long way. We're not too sure about that. So it starts feeling stressed. So you're adding more stress to the situation that you're already in. Adding more stress to my 4. So what I do is I'm looking outside, maybe at the stretch zone. What can raise me to a 5? I don't need to be at a 10. And Abraham talks about this as well. I don't need to be at a 10. Just what can I do right now to soothe myself, to make myself feel a little better, to raise my vibration a little bit, to keep forward focused instead of focused on where I'm at right now. So I'll tell you what I did. I actually, I had a chiropractor appointment this morning, so I went to that and had all these shoulds floating around in my head. Oh, I should do my video for today. I should go to the grocery store. I should work on this project that I'm working on. I should work on this client hand analysis report that I was working on yesterday. And what loving myself meant in that moment this morning when I came out of the chiropractor's office was to go on a walk around the lake. Not the whole lake, it's a huge lake. But to just go on the lake path for about a half hour and just take a walk. And I raised up to about a 5 for a while. Feel like I'm a little back down to a 4 again. I think I might need lunch. That's probably what'll raise me back to a 5. But loving yourself is really about taking those small steps, soothing yourself, taking care of yourself. And I really want to look at this. In this book, RHONDA has a whole list of self-loving acts. And she actually, encourages us to be more familiar with our self-loving acts and do them more often. So some of them are get a massage, light scented candles, give yourself a gift, take a dance class, go away for a weekend. So some of those are what we think of as normal, oh, how do you do a self-care act? Oh, I go get a massage. Now that's great. I love massages, and they are a regular part of self-care for many people. I'm just thinking right now, boy, it's been a while. I could probably stand to schedule one. And yet I want you to think of other ways that you're saying that you care about yourself, that you love yourself. So for instance, she's got a good examples in this book as well. Saying no and meaning it. Giving up your right to be right. Letting go of your resentment. Forgiving yourself. Asking for help. Crying on a loved one's shoulders. I'm seeing it. What else? Acknowledge yourself. Call a long lost friend. So what are some loving acts that aren't those typical ones? Because it's really about what's loving to you right now. For me, getting a massage right now would not be a loving act because it would require me to go out of my house. Well, I've got an appointment anyway, so it wouldn't work anyway. But the idea of leaving my house at this moment, not a die, but it's putting me in a little farther in this risk zone. It would be stressful for me to leave the house right now. I just kind of want to curl up. I took my walk this morning. Want to kind of curl up, maybe get a nap before my appointment or after my appointment. So a self-care act, an act of love, has to take into effect where you're at right now and what really is loving to you, not what you think it should be. So kind of an interesting take today. I didn't know when I read the chapter, I didn't know where it was going to go. Didn't know where it was going to go on this day. I read it last night, but read it again this morning. On this day when it's really about me just being okay with where I'm at. That's what self-love is today. Being okay with where I'm at and remaining forward focused. So I encourage you to think about where you're at. Whether, it's like me where maybe you're having a low mood or low energy day, or maybe it's in your business. Looking at where you're at and being okay with it. Doesn't mean you're staying there. Doesn't mean you're stuck there. It doesn't mean that you're not looking for better. But is it okay to be where you're at right now? Have that acceptance of it and forward look. Look forward to where you want to go, but don't force yourself. Can you take a stretch? Can you do something that's going to take you from a 4 to a 5? That's all, just a 5. And then maybe once you're at a 5 for a while, maybe you can start to go, okay, now what little stretch would take me to a 6? Okay? So we're not adding struggle, we're not adding stress, we're not adding strife. We're accepting ourselves, loving ourselves where we're at, and not staying there, not dwelling on it. So I hope that's been supportive to you. It's been very interesting today for me too. I keep wanting to mentally figure it out. What do I need to do? What is causing this? What's wrong? What's going on? Not self-loving. For me, it is not self-loving to constantly be obsessing about what's wrong. Was it gluten? Did I need more sleep? Is there some gem I could use? Is there some energy work I need? Obsessing about that's not helping. It's just time to surrender and love myself and soothe myself. So again, I love to hear from you. So go ahead and post comments. What do you do to love yourself when you're not feeling like you're an 8, 9, 10? What do you do? And how do you accept yourself where you are? Whether it's, again, low energy, maybe you're sick, maybe you're just not happy with where you're at in a relationship or a business. How do you love yourself? No matter where you are, because that is what cultivates joy. That's what cultivates joy. It's not about the conditions around us. It's about being able to find joy and contentment and peace and wisdom and love in this moment. So thank you for tuning in today. I hope you've hung out with me the whole time. I hope you've watched this whole thing, because that's another thing. My fear goes, maybe they won't like this one because I'm not high energy. So no matter what, I hope I served you, and I will see you tomorrow. Hoping to maybe be a little higher up the scale, but who knows? Who knows? I'll see you tomorrow. No matter what, I will be here. I will be here to help serve you and hopefully you know, show a little self-love to myself in the process. So tomorrow's about motivation. Interesting, very interesting. See you tomorrow. Thanks so much and have a great day.